joining us for another episode of What's Brewing Sis. We did something amazing this weekend. In honor of women whom conquered and those that have lost the battle to the disease, we walked in the Sister Strut 3K Breast Cancer Walk. It was a beautiful day. Let's hear more from Deonna.
I just want to say thanks to Bianca Shelly for coming out to the Sister Strut, and to all of you, if you haven't got your mammograms this year, if you're of age or have family history, please do so. Mammograms save lives. There's so much work to be done, so let's do it.
Are you a survivor?
Yeah, I'm a cancer conqueror 2 times.
Come on! We conquering cancer out here! Yeah, baby! Yeah, baby! Get your mammograms!
Get your mammograms. Get all your routine exams.
Absolutely! Welcome to the next episode of
What's Brewing Sis?
I'm Shelly.
I'm Bianca. And I'm Deonna. And here we come together to serve the brew.
Yeah, we're back.
Another episode, guys.
Yes.
And we're just going to kick things right off today. We have a very special guest. We will allow her to introduce herself and tell us what brings her to the table with us today.
Yeah.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
Good. So I guess I'll just introduce myself. My name is Debbie. I am the owner and meditation coach from Haven Inspired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here because mental health or mental illness awareness week is coming up, and it's a great time to have a conversation about our mental health. Specifically talking through like meditation. So that's what brings me here today, just to kind of give you guys some insight to meditation and just talking about mental health in general.
We are so glad you're here. It should be mental health week every week.
Right.
Yes. Especially with the times that we're in. So
Exactly.
yes.
So we often like to get things started with like a few icebreaker questions before we get deep into the discussion. And it also gives us and our audience a way to get to know you a little better. So I have some icebreakers. I'll start off with, what's your favorite day of the week and why?
Ooh, favorite day of the week is Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For one, typically is the end of the week.
Mm-hmm.
But it also just kind of like spearheads like the weekend. So it's usually like a nice planning day for me, just to kind of be like, hey, like, what do I want to do this weekend? Is it going to be a chill, laid back weekend, or am I going to go out with the girls or have some fun? So I have to say Friday.
All right.
That's a good one.
Shelly?
Mondays. I love Mondays. Mondays are always like the start of something fresh. So normally if I'm trying to like meal prep or
I said Monday is her favorite day.
Yeah. I love the whole fresh starts. It's starting a Monday off with like new ideas and things to get done, after a relaxing weekend. So Mondays for me.
That's a tough question because, I was going to say Saturday, but then Debbie said Friday. It's the 24 hours from the time I clock out of work on Friday to Saturday morning because I feel free. I feel like letting my hair down. I'm relaxing. I'm like, a glass of wine, me please.
Bianca Day.
Yes. And then when I wake up Saturday morning, it's like, I can wake up at my leisure unless I have something to do. But then, Saturday midday, I'm like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. Let me get going. So it's that 24 hours between when I clock out of work and Saturday morning.
Yeah, I think Saturday is my favorite day because I feel like it's the one day that potentially maybe I might not have anything to do.
Maybe might.
But I mean, most time on Saturdays I have stuff to do too. But it's less pressure. Like I don't have to be up as early, or I don't have to worry about work the next day. So I think Saturday for me is my favorite day.
Cool.
Okay. What do you do when you're bored?
When I'm bored, usually most likely something creative, or I mean, a good reality show here and there, just to kind of release some stress. But yeah, usually
reality show.
Reality shows. And it's a guilty pleasure because I'm like, I really shouldn't be partaking in this, just with the mindset of it all. So sometimes even after I watch it, I have to kind of like, okay, I need to release all of what I just watched. But I'm definitely a Housewives fan.
Okay.
So yeah, that's probably what I'm watching the most, or Married to Medicine.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorites. What do I do when I'm bored? Social media for whatever reason. I play games on my phone, and then maybe, one of the Real Housewives of Insert the Blank here.
Yeah. For me, my mind is always going for sure something creative. So I do graphic design. So I'm always like I can design anywhere. I literally was designing on my way here. I know it's so bad, but I'll design when I'm bored and have nothing to do. Try to be creative.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't feel like I have many nothing to do bored moments, but I will like catch up on some binge watch something on Netflix, or play games on my phone, or scroll Facebook. Yeah, those type of things.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's your shoe size? I'm like, I knew I wasn't gonna be able to see.
You ask people that.
That's the question.
Well, I am definitely a proud Bigfoot girl. So my size is 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Debbie.
I respectfully decline.
Oh my god! I am a 7.5.
Favorite color?
Oh, pink. You'll always see me in pink, even if you look at like my feed on Instagram or whatever. I'm gonna have on something pink.
My daughter would love that. She's pink delicious as well.
Yeah. I teeter-totter between blue and yellow.
I'm blue.
I teeter or equally distribute my love for black and rose gold.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Favorite band or artist? Music artist.
Ooh, there's so many. It's like hard to like pinpoint, but I'm like a neo soul type of girl.
Yeah.
So I love like a Jill Scott female. Even though this artist is kind of back and forth between soul and like pop, I love me some John Legend.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think for me, it depends on my mood, but I have to say Bob Marley.
Yeah, that's very, very true. I am a Mary J. Blige girl. Like, I always have to see her in concert. This is the first time in like a long time that I didn't see her when she was here in Chicago. So I was so mad. I tried to act like it wasn't happening. But I love live music. So any live music that I can catch, but definitely Mary J. Blige is my favorite artist.
Yeah, I would have to say Jill Scott too.
Nice.
Cool.
You never go wrong with Jill Scott.
No.
And plus, we're from the same area, so.
Oh, cool. You're from Philly?
Yeah.
So I'm from the suburbs of Philadelphia, but like I always, identify with like people from Philly. Just the language and the vibe and the energy.
That's on my list of places that I want to go.
Same.
Yeah, definitely have to visit Philly.
I want to try a cheesesteak. A real Philly cheesesteak.
You have to do that if you go to Philly. You have to.
What's your favorite food?
Ooh, dang, it's changed a lot, but I have to say, like pizza is like a guilty pleasure. Yeah. Just started getting used to putting vegetables on it instead of but yeah, still pizza.
My pizza game recently just grew up too, Debbie. I started putting vegetables and making my own homemade pizza. But yeah, pizza has always been my fave.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna say tacos.
Yeah. Probably right.
I'm coming in a second.
No. Okay. Oh, pizza coming in a second?
No, anything. Because you're like, baby.
Because I was like, oh, pizza does sound good because I make my own pizza.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say tacos.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably a pizza girl too.
Oh, pizza girl around.
Yeah. So are you here in Illinois now, or you're still in Philly?
I'm in Illinois. Yeah.
So do you like Chicago pizza?
So about that. So like
we're a Chicago show.
So listen. So deep dish pizza is good for what it is, but I just like, for some reason, I just like a nice New York style, like big slice of pizza.
Yeah. Do you fold your pizza?
Yeah, you gotta fold it, and then you gotta, eat it, and then the grease just runs down your hand. Like that's the best.
Yeah. we gotta try it. What's your favorite pizza place here?
So I've been on a healthy kick. So I've been like dabbling in vegan food. Okay. So I've been doing mod pizza simply because like a full like vegan pizza. Yeah. But if I'm not trying to do that, I'm like a home running girl.
Okay.
So yeah, that's primarily or Jet's Pizza usually. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been having some basic pizzas in Chicago.
I'm in the suburbs. I'm not in the city.
So we gotta like get you some real Chicago pizza. But so that's why you're like, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta take you out to some good places.
Okay.
What's your favorite condiment?
Ooh, it's hard.
That's a question.
I mean, like hot sauce. I mean, hot sauce. I'm like a sauce girl. Like it's just like I have to have some type of sauce. So like I would say hot sauce probably, but I always like have Chick-fil-A sauce packets like everywhere. Just to kind of spice it up a little bit with my food. But yeah, I would say hot sauce.
Okay. I mean, I don't know, mayo. I don't know.
Mayo.
Question. I don't know what type of ice we're breaking with this.
You tell a lot about a person by their condiments.
Oh God, I don't know. Red sauce? I don't know. Mustard? What are we talking about? I don't think I have a favorite. It kind of all just depends on what I'm eating, but
I'll just say it's a ranch dressing for me. And yeah, I use ranch for stuff.
Can't go wrong with ranch.
I think mine's just barbecue sauce.
Okay.
And just to give everyone, we definitely love the icebreakers. Just to kind of give everybody a little backstory on how we met.
Yes.
we had talked about in a previous episode. We went to a what do you
This
call
was
that?
a pop-up. This
Like
was
a pop-up.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
called Pamper Yourself.
Pamper yourself.
So it was like different vendors with oils and
Mhm.
soaps and beauty products, and Debbie was there with offering her meditation course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we actually took your course, which
Yeah.
I got your email, so I'm definitely signing up for another one. I just keep forgetting.
Yes.
So we all
I'm
want to be
procrastinating.
more. We want to be more intentional and with our time, and just learn the art of meditation. I'm sure it would be helpful, just to be centered and focused and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're still a work in progress, Debbie.
As am I. I'm not perfect either. It's a practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to find time in the morning to like do yoga and then do meditation, even if it's just like 10 minutes.
Mhm.
And I did it on today's Tuesday. I did it Monday, and something happened that caused me to get all this anxiety. And I'm like, where do I go? Like, what do I do? So it's just about I don't know. I have you'll teach me for sure how to kind of like center myself back, and when things get crazy,
Yeah.
how to center myself so I can properly meditate, bring everything in, think the thoughts through.
Mhm.
So
Yes. So Debbie, if you could tell us in our audience the services that you offer, where they can find you, and talk a little bit more about the art of meditation.
Yeah. So Haven Inspired is a virtual meditation studio. So it's basically where we have classes that are specific for beginners. Just you guys took the beginners class. And then there are a variation of meditations thereafter that kind of helps to build community and to build support when building your meditation practice, because it is something that is more of a slow pace type of thing. It's something that you're supposed to practice and to like gradually work yourself into, instead of trying to go at it full force.
Yeah.
So it's meant to help build community, especially within the African American community, because of the fact that meditation is can be a stigma within our community.
yeah,
So that's one of the reasons why I ended up starting Haven Inspired, was just to be able to give people a safe space, specifically, not just only and solely, but specifically for our community, to have a safe space to kind of talk through and work through the meditation practice and how it can evolve within your life.
yeah.
So you can find me at Haven Inspired on Instagram, Facebook. I do have free meditations on YouTube if you want to listen to samples. All of them are at Haven Inspired.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Why do you think that there's that stigma? Where does that come from? Is it because I don't know, we feel like it's something that's not needed, or what do you find from your clientele?
I think it depends on the background of the clientele. So a lot of times, like if even if it's just speaking to, the African American community, there's a stigma that it's for other religions, where primarily a lot of us are Christian. And not all of us, but just say primarily the U.S. Are Christians.
Yeah.
But the Bible talks about meditation throughout it. And just to me, myself personally, I've always heard about, oh, you should meditate, as far as like under the Christian banner, but you never understood how or what that looked like, and what the practical side of it looks like and how it could be beneficial. So that's one of the reasons why I took to it, to kind of blend the two, just so that way there is like a practical way of practicing, but then also if you are more of a spiritual person, finding a way to bring it into your spiritual life as well, and how they can work hand in hand. So yeah.
Do you find yourself meditating during the day? Like when you're going through, like for me, I like to start my morning quiet with yoga and just kind of trying to get ready and prepared for the day.
Yeah.
The day then starts, and so many things are going on. What would you tell a person on how to? Um, would you say meditate throughout the day, or is it just a one time a day needed?
I like to tell people that meditation isn't just the act of sitting down and actually like focusing and meditating.
Mhm.
Um, Doing that as a practice is great because it gets you in the habit of it, but you can use it at any point at any point of day.
Okay.
Especially in those times when you're doing repetitive motion. So like the things that you do on a daily basis, like driving,
Mhm.
or if you are like just washing dishes, something that's just like something that you do without even thinking about it. Those are times where you can kind of just have that awareness of, okay, where am I right now? What am I doing right now? Am I focused? Am I in the moment as I'm doing it? Or is it just something that's kind of being repetitive and operating on autopilot?
Yeah.
Um, that's something that I try to be aware of all of the time, as far as like, am I operating in autopilot or am I actually present? Like when I'm at home with my kids, am I actually at home with my kids, or am I still at work? Or
Yeah.
Mm.
when I'm at work, am I really at work and focusing on work, or am I still at home with the kids? So, so you meditate. I mean, and that's just the same with prayer too. You meditate and you pray all day. Your thoughts are prayers. Your thoughts are meditations.
Yeah.
Anything that you are processing through your brain is a source or a kind of meditation.
I
So
love that. That's gonna be my next Facebook status. Your thoughts are your prayers. I love that. That's
yeah,
very true. Yeah, and it
yeah,
kind of takes the pressure away from saying, okay, I have to stop doing what I'm doing.
It has to be
Like
structured this particular way or that particular way.
yeah.
So you mentioned you have kids. How many children do you have, and how old are
I
they?
have two. So I have a little girl, she'll be 13 tomorrow. Oh my
that.
gosh.
Happy birthday.
And I have a son, he is 14. So
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Close to
yeah.
me.
Debbie, you
Yeah.
look like a baby.
I know everybody says that, and I actually take that as a compliment. Everyone's like, "Oh, I thought you were like 25." I'm like, "No, add
That's
10 years."
that's okay. That's all right. That's that
Right.
meditation.
Right.
So this is what meditation can do for you.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the ways that you think, or that you advise folks on how meditation is beneficial to the mind, body, soul?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many benefits to meditation. It's kind of endless, but when it comes to the main benefits and what I see a lot for me, well, I'll talk about myself personally first. So the way that I got started with meditation was because I really did have a difficulty with managing difficult emotions. So when it came to managing difficult emotions, the main ones that I had difficulty with were anxiety and anger.
Mm.
So I found myself consistently anxious, and anxiety is a whole nother beast because it shows up in different ways in our lives. And not the most common ways that you would think of, whether it be like panic attacks or whatever. It shows up in so many other ways. So I had to realize, for one, that I needed something to help channel that. And then after I went through a divorce, and then right after my the separation and divorce, I went through a job loss. So things, and then like car breaking down, like just losing friends, like it was just a mess. It's not kind of like when
Yeah.
situations where it just kept back to back to back, like bam, 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 just getting punched in the face, like everywhere you go, just like
Yeah.
Yeah.
just craziness. And I needed to find a way to mitigate that. So handling difficult emotions was definitely my reason for starting to meditate. But even if it's a matter of learning how to focus, if you have like a short attention span, If you're looking to relieve stress or relaxation, if you're finding a way to also not just like deal with difficult emotions, but mitigating emotions, bringing awareness to yourself is another reason to start meditating. Um, there's so many, just finding ways to be present, even if it's relieving stress or pain, not just in the mind, but in the body. Um, there's also another way to actually help with, if you are spiritual, bringing yourself to be more spiritual and be more connected to the God that you serve. Um, and that's another reason why I got into it too, because when it comes to prayer in general, we never really take the time to sit and listen. So I just take prayer as speaking to God and meditation as hearing from God.
Yes.
So that was my way of like just trying to uh, hear, because I did a lot of talking and not a lot of listening.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So those are a few benefits, but there's so many on top of that.
Yes.
Yeah, that resonated a lot of those different things. It seems like they just like attack you all at once. Like it's so hard to kind of handle everything when everything's being thrown at you.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And I think at a certain point too, you when it comes to like going through those different types of things, like the back to back to back, like building self-confidence.
Yeah.
It was something for me that I needed too, because it's like once you go through so many different things at one time, it just starts taking you down a notch every time. I felt like every time something hit me, it's just a notch down each time. So sometimes meditation is there to help build yourself back up.
I also think it's pretty good for day to day, just day to day stress, life, work, family, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
What would you recommend for someone like me who can't be quiet enough to like do it? So when we did your meditation with you, I felt like I was able to focus a lot more than the previous class I had taken. But after a certain amount of time with it, I'm like thinking about grocery lists and what do I need to do next and other stuff until I'm like, oh wait, I'm meditating. Let me focus again. So
yeah, I mean, ultimately, when it comes to that, that's normal. That's going to happen. I always tell people who struggle with the focus portion of it to start with very short increments of time. So, like when it comes to like some of the meditations I have on my YouTube channel are 3 minutes long, and even sometimes 3 minutes is a long time. So just starting with like really with short periods of time and then working your way up to longer periods of time. And then also I like to tell a lot of people is to integrate it into your routine. Connect it with something that you already do every day. So like for me, my affirmations, I would always forget to do my affirmations in the morning. So I started just connecting that with brushing my teeth. So as I'm brushing my teeth, my affirmations are right there on my wall. And I brush my teeth and I read through my affirmations. By the time I'm done reading through my affirmations, I'm done brushing my teeth. So just, finding a way to integrating it into your routine. When it comes to like meditation, I was already praying in the morning. So I would start with my prayer and then move into meditation because you're petitioning and then you're listening. Or you can switch it around and where you're listening and then you petition, because sometimes I switch it up depending on what I need. Sometimes I need to like hear first before I even know what to pray about. Cause a lot of times I'm like, Lord, you know my heart. That's all I got. So sometimes you have to do it backwards, but just finding what works best for you and integrating it into your routine and being realistic. Like if you're not going to sit and do a 10-15 minute meditation, then don't say, oh, I'm going to do a 10-15 minute meditation. Like if you know that you can do 2 minutes, that you can do 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And say, okay, like, all right, so after prayer in the morning, I'm gonna do a 3-minute meditation. And then just kind of go from there to the point where it's a habit. And then once it becomes a habit, then you can start adding to it.
That's a great tip. That's definitely something I could do because I see the 10-minute meditations like,
And I think it's helpful to do. Sorry, I think it's helpful to do the guided meditations versus just trying to go at it alone if you're not, if you're not already apt to doing it. The guided meditations have helped me, versus me just trying to say I'm going to meditate and then, like you said, like your mind starts wandering off. But even if that happens, when I am aware of it, I try to direct myself back to the meditation point. But I think guided meditation is helpful when you're newly starting out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like the one you did it with us where it wasn't a long period of time. And I kind of cheated a little bit. I was doing laundry. I was in the car on my computer. I have to, my mind is always moving and thinking and, going. So it's hard for me to do that 10 minutes too, where it's like that 10 minutes is not even a long time. But I'm going to start off with 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Start.
Yes. And
I like that tip.
Are you going to do a short guided meditation with us in our audience today?
Yeah, sure we can. We can definitely do a short one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's keep it a minute.
I'll set a timer when you're ready. Yeah, we can definitely do that when you're
2 minutes, Bianca. We can do 2 minutes.
Fine. I'm ready.
Yeah, but we could definitely do that. We could do that at the end, or
we'll do that at the end.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
So I did have a few more questions that are just not necessarily completely meditation related, but what is the most interesting thing you heard this week? That's for everybody.
The most interesting thing I've heard this week. Ooh, that's a good question. I would have to say you know what? There is one that came from Sunday from a sermon. And he was actually talking about overthinking and anxiety. And I got convicted a little bit because he said a lot of times anxiety doesn't show up in the ways that we typically think that they should. So they may show up in a panic attack, or if it shows up into like just overly stressed or just kind of burnout or anything like that. But he said sometimes it can be very subtle. And he said anxiety showed up for him in overspending. So a lot of times when we get anxious, we just start buying stuff. Like we just go retail therapy and just get some shoes and that make me feel better, or get a dress and it make me feel better. And I was like, oh, I do that bad. I do that bad. So that was something that stuck out to me this week that I was like, oh, I need to stay on top of that, because even though I am mitigating my anxiety from other ways of symptoms, I could be shifting those symptoms to something else. So I would say that would be the biggest thing.
I have two.
Okay.
We pre-recorded another podcast about finances, and kind of to piggyback off what you're saying, spending money is emotional. So, when the person we were speaking to said that, I was like, oh, yes, I feel like I have to treat myself. So just like what you were saying, I feel like every time I get paid, I have to treat myself. And if I don't, then it's not right, So that was one thing. And the second great thing that I learned this week, or what was interesting thing about this week, is Cafe Coco Latte launched our first blended coffee. Pre-launch started September 3rd. releasing on National Coffee Day, September 29th. International Coffee Day is October 1st. Get your bag of cafe cocoa.
I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna go also and take this opportunity as well. The interesting thing that I heard was September 29th.
But this is going to air after September 29th. That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay, guys. We pre-record. You guys
yes,
understand.
get your bag of Cafe Coco Latte coffee at cafeCocoLatte.com.
Awesome.
So, in addition to the shameless plugs, I say, in addition to the launch of our coffee and then our decaf coffee, we have also been drilling down and figuring things out in terms of what's available to us in terms of a brick and mortar location. And although we don't necessarily have that completely nailed down yet, we are getting closer and closer every day, and we're learning what it takes so that we do it right.
Absolutely.
The first time.
Yeah.
And the second and third, and until we become that global brand that we set out to be. So.
Yes, we will continue to meditate until it all comes.
I definitely need meditation this week and every week going forward because
it's tough.
It's not for the week.
Being an entrepreneur, which you can definitely speak on too, Debbie.
Oh yes.
It gets tough.
Yeah.
I think you feel as if, and even though we three are doing it together, sometimes I still feel like, oh God, there's so much to do every week. Like every week, I feel like we have this new long list of things that need to get done.
Yeah.
Wow. Then imposter syndrome pops in and is like, oh, am I ready for it? Should I be doing
a little bit about that? What's that all about? I think I have it.
Syndrome?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I feel like everybody deals with imposter syndrome to some capacity. It's just basically the feeling of I'm an imposter, like I'm faking it. Like I'm saying that I'm doing this, but I really don't necessarily personally believe that I can.
Yeah.
So it's another form of self-doubt, I would say.
Yeah.
But especially when you're seeing stuff on social media and things like that. I think we're all probably guilty of being some imposters out here every now and then when you're posting. Because for me, I like to post positive things, and I'm so happy, and most of the time it's true. But sometimes it's really my surroundings don't really feel that way, so I'm trying to make everybody else happy. So because I'm all on energy, and it's tough, when everybody's not feeling the exact same way that you feel. It gets hard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense.
It's hard out here in the streets.
Debbie, do you think people in general, at large or whatever, are afraid of making mistakes, which therefore can be a stuck point?
Just in general, or with meditation in general, or with meditation?
I mean, with it both, with meditation and in general.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people also fear success. It's not always fearing failure, but fearing the fact what if it actually does work, and then what happens after that? So I feel like with meditation specifically, sometimes meditation just can be intimidating, especially looking at people who are experts that have been doing it forever. People sitting in lotus position and they have their hands in this certain, and they're, they look a certain way and have a certain aesthetic. So it can be intimidating. And then also to just feeling like you're doing it wrong can sometimes be discouraging. I feel like there isn't necessarily a wrong way to meditate. Like I said, meditation is throughout life, throughout your day. So just, being more mindful there. But I mean, in general, when it comes to making mistakes, I feel like with making mistakes, it's not necessarily always like a fear of making mistakes. It's just not believing in yourself enough, or not trusting yourself enough. I tell my daughter all the time, like, trust yourself, trust yourself, trust yourself. Yeah. Because a lot of times it's not even about making the mistakes. It's just a matter of having the confidence and boldness and to be courageous enough to step out to do something. Mm-hmm. We get used to the norm. Norm is easy. Regular day-to-day routine, what you're used to is easy, and being able to step out and doing something is fearful. It's scary. And even when it comes to just your body's reaction, your nervous system reacts to excitement and fear with the same levels of cortisol and dopamine. It's the same thing. So when you feel the fear, just mistake it for excitement.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna use that.
I heard one interesting thing back to that question too that I heard. It's like I prayed for strength, and God gave me difficulties.
Oh yeah. So,
it's like, you can pray for the things that you want, but He's going to give it to you so you can kind of see yourself coming and rising out of it, or thinking about ways to kind of get through it. So I like that, kind of facing your fear.
Yeah. I mean, I used to pray for patience all the time, and then wondering why I'm keep being in situations where I have to be patient. So it's like, it's not necessarily, God's not going to just magically give you wisdom or magically give you, patience. He's just going to put you in more situations for you to be wise, or for you to be wiser, or for you to trust yourself. So be careful what you pray for.
I'm sitting back thinking, I have my whole life never had patience, and I have prayed for patience, and now I'm in situations where I'm like, where I'm like, you know what?
I have no patience.
I gotta go.
You're gonna be in waiting periods then. If your waiting period is gonna be just a little bit longer, if you're praying for patience.
I'm gonna work on that prayer.
Everyone, ladies, what do you think is the hardest job in the world, and why?
Ooh, the hardest job I would say is being a parent.
I was gonna say
that. Being trusted by God to guide these little people into adults. Like, even like when I left the hospital with my son, I'm like, so y'all just gonna leave me? Like, this is what we doing? Like, it's only been 2 days. Like, y'all gonna just let me take this little person, like, with me? So I would have to say being a parent is definitely
very true. As soon as the baby is all like ready and in the blanket, I woke up to my daughter being next to me in the little crib, the little basketball thing. And I was like, oh wow, they trust me already.
I didn't take a class or
nothing. So I would also have to agree. Being a parent to a teenage daughter, I mean, it's fun.
You sound like a crap for help.
It can be. But no, she's the best thing that ever happened to me in my life. But you want to make sure that you're making the right decisions for your child. You want to make sure that you're guiding them so they don't make the same mistakes that you made. And while she definitely has a great head on her shoulders, I want to build her confidence and always say the right things. You never know, what could hurt someone's feelings. So, being a parent for sure.
I'm gonna triple down on that and say being a parent, because it's like you want to guide them, but then you're like, am I guiding them the right way? Did I say the right thing? And then it's like, well, when they're older, because I'm past y'all now. My son is 23. So it's like, man, I wish I would have did this with him. I wish I would have been able. So now he has student loans. I wish I would have been able to help him get scholarships so he wouldn't have to deal with student loans. I wish I would have. I wish.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky because I had a really great kid and he turned out so well. But during that time, it's like, what if I do this wrong? Or, I hope nothing bad happens. I hope he doesn't become I had him at 19. I hope he doesn't become a teenage father. And it's like all these worries that you walk around with as a parent. And then I'm thinking about the story you just shared as, you guys having a baby in the hospital. Funny story. I remember I had my son and we were at home. It was like the first week of me having him. And I'm like, I don't know what to say to him. I'm like holding him, looking at him like, this is a whole baby. Like, what am I supposed to do with this thing? And like, my aunt was like, you need to talk to him. And I was like, so what am I supposed to say? I'm like, I don't know. So I was like, okay, hi, baby. Are you hungry? Or I didn't know what to say to him. It was really funny now looking back, but at the time I felt so awkward talking to him.
Because it's literally like you have to turn on the switch of being a parent in a day.
I'm like, I don't know him like that.
I don't know what he likes. Oh my goodness. Well, I would agree with you all that parenting is the hardest job in the world. I feel like to some degree, we feel like how they turn out is indicative of how we raise them, which is somewhat true, but they also are going to have their own personalities, their own, strengths and weaknesses, gravitate towards certain things. So I think the most we could do is the best we could do. and pray about it and, ask God to be their ultimate guide. But the thought of being responsible for another human being is
it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, it makes you anxious. And then especially when you see yourself in them.
Oh yeah.
It's like that's like, oh gosh. Like
because it's so obvious that they got it from you. So
exactly. It's like, dang it. That's my trait.
Or I'm like, today I'm watching my daughter come home from school like via the Ring camera, and we've just this school year minimally have started letting her walk home from school, but it's almost like it's literally around the corner, and there's like an open field that the kids cut through for a shortcut, but it still feels like, oh my God, like, is it okay to let her walk home from school? Anything can happen, But it's like they have to grow up. You have to, give them instructions and it's
teach
just
them responsibility.
Yeah. But she's been getting home just fine.
Now you got to think, when we were growing up, we walked everywhere. We walked
not at 7 though, but
I did. Like my elementary school wasn't around the corner.
You have to watch me all the time.
Yeah.
So.
I wasn't going there alone. Like today, she walks home alone, not even with the other 2 little girls on the block. So
that's okay.
Yeah. I watched her from the time she came into view of the Ring camera. I watched her. She crossed the street just fine.
Right.
I mean, I let my kids. They've been walking and to and from, or whether it be to the bus or to school. But I track them though. I'm watching them on my phone. Like, okay,
what I currently do.
What do you do?
So my daughter, she's in high school. She is a junior in high school, and the bus comes and picks her up literally from the door. But I watch her. I stick my head out and I watch her until she gets on there.
That's cute.
Oh, okay. I just like to make sure she's okay. I'm sorry. What has the pandemic taught you about yourself? And this is for everybody.
Ooh, what has it taught me about myself? That I am more capable than I thought I was.
Ooh.
It taught me that that just because I don't have the knowledge at that time doesn't mean that I can't teach myself and that I can't then be capable. And sometimes you have to move before you're ready is also something else that it taught me. And that came with me writing my book. Shameless plug. My book is called Nah Self, Let Me Be Great. It's a self-doubt, inspiration, and workbook. You can get it on Amazon. Just type in Nah, N-A-H, Self, Let Me Be Great. And it's a book about self-doubt, and it started from a journal prompt. It just started from me kind of writing things down, and me starting to write that built my confidence to the point where, okay, like this was something that I didn't even know that I had in me that was there. So the capability is there, my ability is there. I just have to dig in and grab it and pull it out. So I think that's me. Yeah.
Very cool. What about you, B?
Circle back to me, guys. I have a few things rolling around in my head. You know what? I'm gonna answer it. So, after my husband passed in 2019, and then the pandemic hit right after that. And I remember my son gave me a birthday card or some card, whatever it was. And he put on there, "You're stronger than you think." And I really hated the word strength after my husband passed because people kept throwing it at you, kind of like you'll be all right, you strong. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that just made me angry.
It made it worse.
Because it's like, well, I'm gonna throw my phone. I don't want to be strong. Like I lost my husband. I don't want to be strong. I need help. Like, I don't even know what to do. Stop telling me I'm strong. When people would say that to my face, I instantly get mad. Like, what? Like what? Mm-hmm. But the pandemic taught me that it's okay to be strong. And like, I took it step by step. Like, okay, I'm going to get out here. I'm going to, see the world and travel. I went on my first trip without him with the girls to Vegas, and that was a good time. Nice. I started doing more things like just going out by myself, nowhere in specific, but home goods. But, just doing stuff by myself and not having that feeling of, oh, I'm missing somebody, or, it's sad that I'm doing this without him type of feeling. So I feel like I got my strength and a little bit of my independence back. So
yeah, I mean, and strength doesn't always have to mean like, oh, I'm handling this without emotion. Sometimes strength is more so of, hey, I need help. Like, there's strength in saying I need help rather than being prideful and holding back and trying to hold everything in. So I think it's just a matter also just shifting your mindset of what strength is and what strength looks like.
Yeah. I like that. I really like that, because I think sometimes I'll probably say previously, I don't think I still think this way, but my previous picture of strength is, I got this, don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's so 90s. Like, we not doing that no more.
That was what I thought.
Strength is being vulnerable. Vulnerability is strength. That's strength also.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. Yeah. Something I can also say that I struggled with and probably still struggle with a bit is being vulnerable. But life situations will make it such that you don't have a choice, Yeah. But so I would say, so a few things that the pandemic taught me. One is that life is a series of random events. Mm-hmm. So you could be the person that has planned your life out and think you're the most organized, have your schedule together. Boom. Anything can happen. Yeah. Breast cancer can happen. Death of a spouse suddenly can happen. Mm-hmm. Jobs could just close down and shut down and no longer exist, and furloughs and You know, all these things can happen and nobody's exempt.
Yeah.
So then what?
Yeah.
You know,
Bill still coming.
right. And your insurance carrier could be like, I know you got breast cancer, but I'm not gonna pay your STD claim. Then what? You know, it's like all these things that it could happen and did happen, you know, in the span of the pandemic. I think for me resonated with like we gotta deal, you know, play the hand we dealt, you know, like, you know, some people say, well, life give you lemons, make lemonade. But it's like, don't stop there. Make lemon pie, lemon cake, do all the things you can.
Diversify.
You know, like, it's like you just have to do what you can, control the controllables, and pivot.
I like that.
You know,
pivot has been our word for this year.
Yeah.
I was previously the life hands you bad cards, whatever Deonna just said. I want to throw those cards on the ground. I don't want them cards.
Right.
Take those cards back. Reshuffle that deck, sir.
Yeah. And it's like we just cannot control certain events. Like I don't care if you were a germaphobe, you can't necessarily prevent yourself from getting COVID. Like I know some people who literally did not leave the house until the vaccine came out, but they also were like probably the most susceptible to it because they kept themselves in a bubble so much that as soon as they walked out the door, COVID was just waiting. Like, oh, I've been waiting for you to come outside, you know.
Oh, you outside today?
So it's like we can't control everything. We can't plan everything. You know, life is going to happen whether we like it or not. And, you know, all we can do is respond to the best of our abilities and move ahead.
Yeah. I think for me, I think it's same sentiments that you guys made. Like we're stronger than what we think that we are.
Yeah.
You know, because like you said, life is gonna hit you no matter what, and it's like your cancer's here at your door. It's like nothing. You can't pray it away. Well, you can't pray it away, but you can't change your circumstances the way you probably would want to. You can't avoid chemo. You can't avoid what happened with your husband. So I think for me, it's just like taught me to be a little less fearful of what's going to happen tomorrow, because while it might be a very scary thing, that scary thing could catapult you to something else. You know, for me, I lost my job for a short period of time. I was furloughed during the pandemic, and it gave me some time to think. Like, you know, like I like my job, but you know, there's other things out there that, you know, I want to do to, you know, push myself forward, and to be able to do it with you guys has been like such a blessing. So I sometimes think too, like if the pandemic didn't happen, would we have started the business?
Right, exactly.
You know?
I think we probably would have been talking about it because, like you said, you know, thinking about the scary things that could happen. It'll be like, oh, well, where do we start? We don't even know what to do. But I think the pandemic kind of pushed us into
not just talking about it.
It's like, okay, now what? We talked about it enough. Let's move forward. Because, you know, the pandemic also taught that tomorrow, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Listen, my husband dying in COVID was not on my life bingo card. Like, that was not it. I couldn't have gave y'all that. So it's like, well, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So it ain't no point in being afraid of tomorrow because... You know, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Right. Similarly to Bianca saying that she got annoyed with people saying she's strong, it was an awkward feeling for me for people to say I'm proud of you when I was going through chemo. It was like, well, what you know, I'm so proud of you, and I'm like, well, I didn't necessarily feel like I had done anything, you know. It's like, you're proud of me for getting cancer, or you're like, what exactly are you proud of? But it's like I felt like, well, if I could have had my treasures, I wouldn't have been in this space and time. Like, don't be proud of me, be proud of the people who invented the treatment. I don't know.
Well, I think it's also the way you handle it. It was more like, I don't have time for this, and this is in my way, and I got other stuff to do.
Yeah. I was very much like, let's get this over with. Like, you know.
It was like, I'm going to chemo tomorrow, but I'm going on this trip on Monday, and I'm planning business. So
I was definitely making plans in between. Like, I knew treatment was gonna have me like sleep for 3-4 days after, but then on that 5th day when I got some energy again, what are we gonna do with these the next 3 days before I'm tired again?
Yeah, we plan around the chemo.
We planned around chemo. Like, oh, she got chemo on Monday. Okay, we'll be back on Sunday. We got time to relax before chemo, you know.
Yeah.
But that's inspiring to people, you know, especially you don't know what other people are going through. So just watching you go through that may have been some information that someone else needed, you know, to see. Yeah. And they don't know what to say, so they just say, "Oh, I'm proud of you."
I had to learn to accept it. I mean, that whole cancer journey and everything, I said that too was like, it taught me a lot of things. I had to learn to be comfortable in my discomfort. You know, I was changing, the way I looked was changing. And it was like everybody else was very encouraging throughout that. And even they're like, "Oh, you're so beautiful, this is that." And I'm like, are y'all looking at the same person I'm looking at? Like, you know, and I was like, if nobody else is gonna tell me the truth, my at the time 6-year-old, she had no filter. So I'm like, Zoe tell me I look nice, and I look nice, but everybody else looked really nice. Which she was like, when I first did the buzz cut, she's like, don't get me wrong, you still cute, but your haircut looks like daddy, you know. So I'm like, okay, at least I'm still cute.
Too funny.
Yes, but I'm sure, you know, I feel like if I had even been I feel like I did do some meditation, but it just wasn't structured, and like you said, in the fashion in which we think is how you're supposed to be postured and aesthetics and stuff. But I definitely spent a lot of time in prayer and listening, and just you know, like there was no option but to rest. Yeah. And I previously have been a person who's always on the go, doing, you know, multiple things and planning the next project. So it was like a big hard stop and just rest. That's what my body had to do to recover.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Speaking of rest, I think now is a good time
for us to have our few minutes of meditation.
Yes.
We decided on 2.
You're just going to do 2 minutes? Do a minute?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. So I
hope you guys don't mind. It's gonna be a lot of tippity taps. That's just my dog walking around.
I feel like there's like background noise with me over here too, but we can get through it. So I will set a time.
We want our audience to do it as well.
Yes.
So
give everybody a second to get into a good a place. You can even just stop wherever you are. And it could be standing, it could be sitting if that feels better. But just whatever's most comfortable in this moment. And when you are ready, gently close your eyes. Relax your face and chin. Relax your shoulders. And when you are ready, bring your attention to your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and releasing. Inhaling peace Exhaling stress. Inhaling serenity. Exhaling strife. Breathing in and letting go. And now lock into this present moment and notice how you feel. And understand you don't need all of the answers right now. You don't need to react to anything right now. Just rest in this moment. Breathing in and breathing out. And now, bring your attention back to the room. Move your head from side to side. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right. Sorry, there's like background noise with
That's fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That was fast. But it definitely, I feel a little relaxed.
Yeah, my shoulders definitely relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't take long for you to get, and I think that might have been like maybe 45, 50 seconds, but it doesn't take long for you to get there as long as you just center your breath. I think when it comes just in general to not just meditation, but just mitigating emotions, it always comes back to your breath. Because if you think about it, when you're anxious or even when you're excited or surprised or angry, you always hold your breath, right? You always, it's always that. So whenever you find yourself, whether it be like within meditation or just with mitigating your emotions or needing to calm yourself down, always goes back to your breath. Always.
I like that.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So again, tell everyone where they could find you.
Yeah, you can find me most active on Instagram at Haven Inspired. Of course, on YouTube for new meditations, I post weekly on Sundays at Haven Inspired. You can find me on Facebook at Haven Inspired. For signing up for classes, you can go to haveninspired.com. And yeah, for merch is also haveninspiredstyle.com. So yeah.
I love your merch.
I like your merch. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, haveninspired.com to sign up for classes.
Yes.
How long are the classes typically?
Usually 30 minutes, give or take if there's like conversation in there. But the beginner's class, like if you're looking to just start out and learn a little bit more about meditation, which is the class that you guys took, that's 30 minutes. And then all of the other community classes, like that I like to call them, those are also 30 minutes, and they vary from manifesting greatness, overcoming stress and anxiety. There's devotional meditation classes. And I think that those are the three main ones in addition to the beginner's class.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
we'll definitely be taking more classes, Debbie. You have definitely inspired us.
Haven Inspired.
Absolutely.
We appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And getting to know you and all those great things. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was fun.
That was so much fun.
That was a much needed treat.
Yes.
Self-care is important.
Yeah.
And we do get bogged down with our day-to-day activities and work and business and life and all of that. So it is important, Brew Crew, to take care of yourself and take a moment and center yourself. And
we're gonna take that in for ourselves too, not just reflecting, not just reflecting it out to you guys, but bringing it back to ourselves that we need to also take a moment to center ourselves and meditate, because I know after today I need it. I'm not even gonna hold you.
Yeah.
I needed it after today, because earlier I could have fought a brick.
Yeah. Oh, not fought a brick. That's the first one. I need to admit that. I love that. Yeah, she has the best stuff. But yes, and on top of that, it doesn't take a long period.
It doesn't.
You know, and I think, you know, in upcoming episodes, we'll be talking about, you know, how just tough it is to be a Black woman. Can we talk about that?
Girl, Superwoman said we need to talk about that.
Yes, we need to definitely talk about that topic. But I definitely hope that if you're watching or if this video finds you somehow, that you know that even though life is happening and it could be major things that are taking, you know, a hold of life, in 2 minutes you could center yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
And we don't know what tomorrow holds, but we know who holds tomorrow. So that's what's more important. We don't have to.
My friends, I know. Come on, you see? I love it.
Yes.
But before we go,
if you have not placed your Cafe Coco Latte coffee order, please go ahead and do so. We have our medium roast. And we also have our decaf.
Yes, we heard you, decaf lovers. They were loud and clear. We released our medium roast. And the decafers were like,
I need decaf.
Where's my decaf? So we had to go back to our roaster, like,
we need decaf on the pronto. So
yes. So
he delivered. Thank you, Mike Jones.
And we want to thank the Brew Crew. You guys are so dope.
Yes.
That we sold through our first batch.
Yes.
We're not sold out, but we sold through our first batch.
It had to re-up.
With the quickness, and again, our roaster was here for it.
Yes. He's
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh,
very.
So we'll be getting more of that out to you guys. But again, you can go on cafecocolatte.com.
Yes.
You'll see the link you'll see the bags going through the screen. Pick decaf or regular, whatever is more convenient for you. We are bringing some more stuff in store, I'm sure, after these, get out here, see what you guys. We're listening to your feedback, see what you guys want from us.
Yes.
And
so send your reviews, your testimonials.
They help us.
Yes, we keep it coming.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
The reviews help us a great deal, but also seeing pictures of you guys with the bags of coffee is so awesome. We want to get this product to you ASAP. And we want you guys to enjoy coffee while you meditate.
Yep. So you could post that on your Facebook and hashtag. What do we want to hashtag? Coco Latte Now?
Yes.
Hashtag Coco Latte Now on Facebook and add us on Instagram, Coco Latte Now. And we would love to get your reviews and your feedback.
Absolutely.
And, help us improve.
Yes.
If we need to. Or just compliment us.
Yes.
And there is more to come. There's more coffees. There's more merch. There's more things to come. So we will continue to add to our products. So stay abreast to everything that's going on with Cafe Coco Latte via our newsletter. If you haven't signed up for the newsletter, please do so. Please, ma'am. Please, sir. Cover yourselves accordingly.
Yes. And as always,
keep it brewing. Da, 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 da.